Hello folks and welcome back to the channel, and oh my goodness me, have I got an exciting video for you today, because thanks to Stormforce, which are a UK system builder for high-end computers, they have very kindly loaned me for quite a bit of time actually a AMD supercomputer, quite honestly, because this has a Asus RX 7900 XTX 24GB overclocked graphics card, and for our CPU it is no other than the Ryzen 9 7950X, and later on I may even be able to show you the new 3D edition. But for this test we're going to go at London City Airport in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now this is in fact the AMD Prison Extreme Configurator Edition, which means that flight sim enthusiasts just like me and you can configure this to your heart's content, and it's definitely something that I would recommend. That way you can change the storage options, memory, GPU, even the cooling configurations, it's all there. And it's also worth mentioning that even before Stormforce knew that I was a YouTuber, that I bought one of their computers simply because they are a powered by Asus partner, and we all have our favourite brands, but for me I've always been a massive Asus fan. They do stand for quality without a doubt. Now for this AMD system, this is the very best that AMD have to offer right now, with the CPU giving out 16 cores and 32 threads running at a very high boost frequency. This CPU is also aimed at the most demanding, dare I say, gamers and also flight simmers such as ourselves. So as you can see here, the computer is absolutely beautiful, but never mind that, that's enough talking. Let's now go for a raw first impressions flight at London City with the HP Reverb G2 native resolution, and let's see once and for all if this computer can really rock in VR. Here we go. Right folks, so welcome back. This is what you want to see now. We're at London City, it's Broken Cloud, and I'll just show you the settings that I run with my own computer. That is the 13900K 4090. And this is the same scenario. I've even used the same aircraft as my first test with my machine. We're getting about between sort of 27, 30, maybe 33 frames per second. In fact, it's gone down, yeah, it's sticking to about 27 at the moment. Compare that to my computer, if you're interested. I'm getting about 50, 55 frames per second, so quite a difference. But we're not just here to compare the 4090 with this. That could be in a separate video. This is my first impressions, so let's go for a flight and see how things are. But as I say, I've got live traffic on London City. This is kind of a stress test scenario. We're in the Just Flight Hawk as well. Look at this beautiful aircraft, very nice. So with that being said, let's take off. See how we get on here. You know what guys, I always forget how good the Reverb G2 looks until I try it again. It's such a great headset. So okay, even though this is about 30 frames per second, worst case scenario as well, this is still feeling very smooth actually. So yeah, we're quite down on frames here. 24 frames per second now, 23. Now I don't want to compare this at the moment to my 4090 machine, but I can't help but think about it as I'm doing this test. And yeah, frames, while they're not as good, of course, now that we're kind of clear of main London City, they're feeling okay. They're not too bad. Let's just contact ATC so they don't annoy us. So yeah, now we're above the cloud. We're getting about 38 frames per second. Look at that for a shot there. That is gorgeous. This aircraft never gets old. Such a beautiful jet. And quite incredibly, it's still the best jet we have for MSFS, in my humble opinion anyway. Now, one takeaway I can say straight away, and that is the fact that previous AMD systems that I've tested has felt quite jittery and micro stuttery, if that's even a word, but you know what I mean? In VR, it just feels a little bit lacking in smoothness, but even at these sort of frames, 34, 35, 30 frames per second, it's feeling much better. So I can definitely tell this is a newer generation GPU. And by the way, in case you're wondering, I am using the very latest GPU drivers for this test at the time of recording. Yeah, it feels quite weird that I'm not in my motion rig right now. Does feel weird. I'm missing all that feeling. And I will be testing this AMD system in different situations. In fact, pretty much most of the videos you're going to see from this point onwards for quite a while is going to be with this computer. But this is feeling good. Please bear in mind that this is a stress test scenario. I always say, if you can get 30 frames per second at London City, then you're good to go anywhere else. Pulling some G's here. And if you're wondering why I can talk normally whilst pulling such high G's, that is because I am actually a trained fighter pilot. Not many people know that. Just kidding, guys. I'm only joking. So yeah, this is pretty decent, but I kind of expected a bit more. But this is a first impressions video. There could be plenty of tweaks out there that can boost frame rate. But this is really high settings, guys. I want you to know this. This is really super high settings with the Reverb G2 at native resolution, very heavy cloud, over London City, traffic, the lot, dialed up to the max. So the fact that we are hovering around the 30 frames per second mark whilst recording as well, by the way, isn't too bad. It's not spectacular performance. It's not really exciting me too much, but it is pretty good. This kind of reminds me, in fact, if I compared this to my 10900K 3090, this is still much better than that, okay? Because this sort of scenario, I would be getting about 25 frames per second, so about maybe 8 to 10 frames per second more. And in VR, as you know, that's nothing to be sniffed at all. So, a pretty decent effort for the first impressions video. Not lightning fast by any means, but I think it's doing quite well considering I am really pushing this computer to the limits, to be honest. And it's running very well. Let's just jump out the cloud here. Now, I know it's not looking very nice because I'm just showing you the 2i version. So this is really just a raw test, so you can see all of the FPS numbers and what's going on with the GPU utilization and everything. It's not meant to be a pretty video, guys. This is just a technical test, really, in a way. So a massive thank you to Stormforce, AMD and Asus for making this video happen today, because it's a bit of a collaboration of sorts. And please do let me know in the comments, what would you like to see next with this AMD system? Thank you so much for watching, as always. I really do truly appreciate it. And I'll see you again very soon. Take care, and bye for now.